Okay, welcome back, and let's talk about the conservation of mass. And this is kind of the only calculation really that you've had so far, and a few conversions, but I try and at least get one calculation every chapter. So, how are the mass of the reactants and the products related in a chemical reaction? Well, one of the first laws in chemistry is that matter can be neither created nor destroyed in a chemical equation. That's a law, so it doesn't explain it, it just tells you what. So, as wood burns, a sizable amount of matter is reduced into a small pile of ashes. Does that mean that some of the material has disappeared? No. It is just changed in shape or placement, and you may not be able to see where it is. So, the mass of the products is always equal to the masses of the reactants. So, in the case of burning wood, carbon dioxide and water vapor are released to the atmosphere, and therefore it appears that the mass of the reactants is more than the mass of the products. But if we were to carefully collect all those gases and mass the ashes, we would see that mass was conserved, or that all of it was still there. It's easier to do this if we're doing it in a different way. But this also holds true for physical changes. If I take 10 grams of ice and I melt it, I will get 10 grams of water exactly. The scientific law, so again, this does not explain, it only tells you what. A conservation of mass, and this is one that you will need to know. It states that in any physical or chemical reaction or change, mass is conserved. Matter is neither created nor destroyed. So here we have a balance showing our two reactants in two different vials, and the mass of the vials and the reactants is 43.43 grams. If I were to pour the reactant from the vial on the left into the vial on the right and remass it, I see that I've had a chemical change occur, but the mass is still the same. To what change does the law of conservation of mass apply? Does this apply to every kind of change or just a particular one? And you should be able to tell me that it applies to both physical and chemical changes. Oh, we're almost done. Key concepts. During chemical change, the composition of matter always changes. And so, likewise, you should know that during a physical change, the composition of the matter never changes. Four possible clues or indicators could be transfer of energy, change in color, production of a gas, or the formation of a precipitate. And during any chemical reaction, the mass of products is equal to the mass of the reactants. So here we are at vocab words: chemical property, chemical reaction, reactant, product, precipitate. You're definitely going to need to know the law of conservation of mass. And chemistry as essential science, the different forms of matter can undergo physical or chemical changes. And that's the end of this chapter. So we're here already. We will be discussing this in class, so make sure you have your notes out and you might want to add to them. Thanks for listening.